Most people approach trading the same way kids approach basketball at the park. They show up, chuck shots, try to cross everyone up, and hope something crazy happens. When it works once, they think they're on to something. When it doesn't, they blame the court, the ball, the refs, or the defender. They never stop to ask if the way they're playing even makes sense long term. That's trading for most people. They see a chart, they feel something, they take a shot. Sometimes it goes in, most of the time it doesn't. And instead of questioning the approach, they just keep shooting. The reason I'm making this video is because trading is not like basketball the way most people think. It's not about highlights, it's not about buzzer beaters, it's not about talent. It's about fundamentals, defense, and shot selection. And once you see that clearly, trading stops feeling impossible and starts feeling obvious. Before we even get into it, if you've ever felt like trading should make more sense than it does, hit the like button and click subscribe. Not because I need it, but because it tells me you're actually paying attention. And if you know someone who keeps jumping from strategy to strategy, like they're changing sneakers at halftime, share this video with them. They need this perspective more than another indicator. Most traders lose for the same reason bad basketball players lose. They don't play the game that actually wins. They play the game that feels good. In basketball, a bad player shoots whenever they feel open. They take contested shots. They pull up early. They ignore spacing. They ignore the clock. They ignore defense. They play for the moment. They want to feel like the guy. In trading, losing traders do the same thing. They enter when it feels right. They chase moves. They jump in late. They trade because they're bored. They trade because they're afraid of missing out. They trade because they want to feel involved. None of that has anything to do with making money. Good basketball players don't shoot whenever they feel like it. They shoot when the system gives them the shot. Same thing in trading. Profitable traders don't trade when they feel confident. They trade when their setup appears. Same chart, completely different behavior. I used to play basketball with two guys who were complete opposites. One guy was flashy, always trying new moves, deep shots, crazy passes. He wanted every play to look impressive. The other guy barely talked. He passed a lot. Took open shots, played defense, did nothing exciting. Guess who won more games? Guess who people actually wanted on their team? Trading is exactly like that. Most traders want to look impressive. They want to call reversals. They want to predict tops. They want to catch bottoms. They want to feel smarter than the market. The market does not reward that. It rewards discipline and patience. This is where the basketball analogy really starts to matter. In basketball, you don't win by scoring on every possession. You win by taking good shots and playing defense when the shot isn't there. In trading, you don't win by making money every trade. You win by controlling losses and waiting for high-quality setups. Defense is more important than offense. Most traders obsess over entries. What indicator gives the best signal? What time frame is best? What confirmation to add? That's like a basketball player obsessing over how to shoot while ignoring defense. You can score a lot and still lose if you don't protect the basket. In trading, defense is risk management, position sizing, stop losses, knowing when not to trade. Most people ignore that part because it's boring, just like defense. But defense is what keeps you in the game long enough to win. I once watched a trader blow an account in a single day, not because his strategy was bad, but because he sized up after a loss. He wanted to get the money back. That's the trading version of forcing shots when you're down. You stop playing the system and start playing emotionally. That's when games are lost. That's when accounts are blown. The best basketball players miss shots all the time and don't flinch. The best traders take losses and don't change behavior. That emotional control is everything. If you've ever had a losing trade ruin your entire day, pause for a second and comment, "Felt that." You're not alone. That reaction is normal, but it's also the thing that keeps most people stuck. Another reason trading feels impossible to most people is because they think talent matters more than repetition. In basketball, talent helps, but fundamentals win games. Footwork, spacing, timing. These things aren't exciting, but they work. The best players practice the same shots over and over, the same drills, the same movements. Trading works the same way. The 5% are not running 10 strategies, they're running one. Over and over, same setup, same execution, same review process. That repetition builds consistency. Most traders never stay with anything long enough to see results. They keep switching before the stats can even out. I had a friend who traded 5 different strategies at once. He called it diversification. What it really was confusion. He never knew which one was actually working. He never built confidence in any of them. He was busy, but he wasn't effective. Eventually, he cut everything down to one setup, one time of day, one rule set. His trading became boring, and then it became profitable. That boredom is the signal. In basketball, practice looks boring. Free throws, layups, passing drills, no crowd, no noise, no highlights. But that's where games are won. Trading is no different. The people who make it are the ones willing to do boring work consistently. Another key similarity is pressure. In practice, everyone looks good. In pickup games, everyone hits shots. In the gym by yourself, you don't miss much. Then the game starts. Crowd, clock, defense, pressure. Suddenly, everything feels different. That's demo versus live trading. On demo, people follow rules. They take clean setups. They don't panic. On live accounts, the pressure exposes weakness. The strategy didn't change. The trader did. Money introduces pressure the same way a defender does in basketball. It forces you to reveal habits you didn't know you had. Hesitation, fear, overconfidence, impatience. That's why trading is not about finding a better strategy. It's about becoming a better executor. If you're still watching at this point, subscribe. Not because I'm promising magic, but because this channel is about breaking trading down in ways that actually stick. No hype, no fantasy, just reality. One of the biggest mistakes traders make is thinking flexibility is a strength. They like to say things like, I can adapt, or I trade what I see. That sounds good on the surface, but in reality, flexibility is what keeps most traders inconsistent. It's the same reason street ball players never make it to organized basketball. They improvise everything. Street ball looks fun, flashy moves, no structure, no rules. Everyone does whatever they want, and for a while it feels free. But when you put those same players into a real game with real rules, they struggle. They don't know where to be. They don't know when to pass. They don't know how to play defense. They've never learned a system. That's how most people trade. They wake up and decide what kind of trader they feel like being that day. One day they're scalping. The next day they're swing trading. One day they trust the setup. The next day they override it. One loss and the rules bend. Two losses and the strategy is suddenly broken. That's not adaptation. That's emotional improvisation. The best basketball teams don't improvise every possession. They run plays. Everyone knows their role. Everyone knows where to be. When something breaks down, they reset and run the next play. No panic, no ego, no hero ball. The 5% trade the same way. They run plays. They know exactly when they trade, exactly what qualifies as a setup, exactly how much they risk, and exactly when they exit. They don't freestyle. They don't chase. They don't argue with the market. They execute the play and live with the outcome. I used to trade with a guy who always said he was flexible. If price didn't do what he expected, he'd adjust. If a trade went against him, he'd give it more room. If a setup didn't appear, he'd find another one. He felt smart. He felt adaptable. His account never stabilized. Eventually, he forced himself to trade one setup only. No exceptions, no adjustments, no extra trades. The first month was brutal. He felt trapped, bored, unproductive. But something interesting happened. His emotions calmed down. His mistakes dropped. His confidence started coming from execution instead of outcomes. That's when his curve smoothed out. Structure creates freedom. Lack of structure creates chaos. Another place the basketball analogy fits perfectly is shot selection. In basketball, not every open shot is a good shot. Context matters. Time on the clock. Defender position, spacing, fatigue. The best players pass up decent shots to get great ones. Bad players shoot everything. In trading, not every signal is a trade. Not every breakout is worth taking. Not every candle means something. The 5% pass on most opportunities. The 95% feel obligated to trade. That obligation comes from fear. Fear of missing out. Fear of wasted time. Fear of not doing enough. That fear pushes people into low-quality trades. And low-quality trades add up fast. If you've ever looked back at a losing trade and thought, I didn't even need to take that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Trading punishes overactivity the same way basketball punishes bad shot selection. You don't need more attempts, you need better ones. Another thing most traders don't understand is pacing. Basketball is a long game. Even great players go cold. Even great teams have bad quarters. No one panics because they missed 2 shots in a row. They stay in the game. They trust the system. They know the season is long. Trading is the same. Losing streaks happen, flat periods happen, drawdowns happen. The 95% treat every loss like an emergency. They start changing things immediately. The 5% treat losses as expected variance. That difference in mindset is massive. I once watched a trader abandon a profitable strategy after 3 losing trades. 3! That's like a basketball player quitting mid-game because they missed their first 3 shots. That trader never gave the stats a chance to work. Consistency comes from staying in the game long enough. Another overlooked similarity is defense again, but from a different angle. In basketball, good defense isn't about blocking every shot. It's about positioning, anticipation, discipline, not reaching, not fouling. Trading defense works the same way. You don't need to avoid every loss, you need to avoid big losses. Most blown accounts don't die from 1,000 small losses. They die from one emotional decision. Oversizing, revenge trading, removing stops. That's the equivalent of committing stupid fouls when you're already in trouble. The 5% protect their downside obsessively. They assume something will go wrong and prepare for it in advance. That preparation makes them calm. Calm traders make better decisions. If this analogy is clicking for you, do me a favor and like the video. It helps more traders see trading through this lens instead of chasing the next flashy setup. Another story. I once asked a consistently profitable trader what he focused on most. I expected him to talk about entries. Instead, he said this: I focus on not breaking my rules. That's it. If I do that, the money takes care of itself. That's a basketball mindset. The best players don't focus on scoring every possession. They focus on making the right play. The score follows. One last thing before we move on. Most traders think confidence comes from winning. It doesn't. Confidence comes from knowing exactly what you'll do, no matter what happens. When your rules are clear and limited, confidence is automatic. When everything is flexible, confidence disappears the moment something goes wrong. Pressure is where games are actually decided. Not in warm-ups, not in practice, not when everything is going your way. Pressure exposes habits you didn't know you had. That's true in basketball, and it's painfully true in trading. In the gym by yourself, you don't rush shots. You don't feel watched. You don't feel judged. You don't feel the clock. You just play. That's demo trading, clean execution, calm decisions. Rules followed perfectly. Most people look like professionals on demo. Then the game starts. Crowd noise, scoreboard, defender in your face, clock ticking. Suddenly the same shot feels different. Suddenly you hesitate. Suddenly you rush. Suddenly you force something that wasn't there. The mechanics didn't change. The environment did. That's live trading. Money introduces pressure the same way defense does. It makes you uncomfortable. It makes you aware. It makes you emotional. And the moment you become emotional, you stop playing the system and start playing the moment. This is where most traders fall apart. They tell themselves the strategy stopped working. They say the market changed. They say conditions are different. What actually changed was them. Their tolerance for uncertainty dropped the moment real money was on the line. I watched this happen with a trader I coached years ago. On demo, he was flawless, patient, disciplined, calm. The moment he went live, everything unraveled. He started checking charts constantly. He second-guessed entries. He exited early. He skipped trades after losses. Same strategy, same rules. Completely different execution. When I asked him what changed, he said, I just don't trust it the same way. That's the problem. Trust doesn't come from results. It comes from repetition under pressure. You don't trust a jump shot because you hit one in practice. You trust it because you've taken it thousands of times in games. The 5% understand this. They don't expect confidence immediately. They expect discomfort, they expect mistakes, they expect pressure. And instead of fighting it, they build systems that reduce how much pressure can affect them. That's why they predefine everything. Entry conditions, risk size, stop placement, trade limits, session limits. Everything that could trigger an emotional decision is decided in advance. That's not restriction, that's protection. Most traders think freedom is having options. In reality, freedom comes from removing decisions. The fewer decisions you have to make in real time, the calmer you become. Calm traders execute better. Another place pressure shows up is ego. In basketball, ego shows up as hero ball. Taking bad shots because you want to be the guy. Ignoring teammates. Forcing plays. In trading, ego shows up as prediction. Calling tops, catching bottoms, proving you're right. I once watched a trader hold on to a losing trade far longer than he should have. Not because the setup was still valid, but because he had already told people it was going to work. He wasn't trading anymore. He was defending an image. When the trade finally stopped out, he was angry, not just at the loss, but at how exposed he felt. That's ego-destroying execution. The 5% avoid this by staying emotionally anonymous. They don't announce trades. They don't need validation. They don't tie their identity to outcomes. Win or lose, they look the same. That emotional neutrality is a massive edge. If you've ever felt personally attacked by a losing trade, pause for a second and comment honest. Awareness is the first step out of that loop. Another key similarity between trading and basketball is recovery. In basketball, great players have short memories. They miss a shot and get back on defense. They don't sulk. They don't rush the next possession to make up for it. They stay present. Most traders do the opposite. They miss a trade or take a loss and immediately try to get it back. They force the next trade. They size up. They break rules. That's revenge trading. And it's one of the fastest ways to destroy an account. The 5% treat losses like missed shots. Not failures, just part of the game. They reset and wait for the next quality opportunity. No emotion, no urgency. Another story, I knew a trader who had a strict rule. After any loss, he had to stand up, walk away from the screen, and not look at charts for 10 minutes. At first, it felt silly. Then he realized something. That pause stopped him from making emotional decisions. It created space between the loss and the next action. Over time, his performance improved dramatically. That's discipline disguised as routine. Basketball players have routines for free throws for a reason. Routine calms the mind under pressure. Trading needs the same thing. This is also where patience separates levels. In basketball, you don't sprint the entire game. You pace yourself, you conserve energy, you wait for the right moment. In trading, patience looks like not trading, and that drives most people crazy. They sit there staring at charts, feeling unproductive. They think if they're not trading, they're failing. That mindset is poison. Not trading is often the correct decision. The 5% are comfortable doing nothing. They don't need constant action. They don't need constant stimulation. They understand that waiting is part of execution. If this perspective is changing how you see your own trading, like the video, it helps more people realize they don't need another strategy. They need a different mindset. There is a moment every trader reaches where trading stops feeling exciting and starts feeling empty. Charts move, setups appear, trades trigger, and nothing inside you reacts the way it used to. No rush, no fear, no dopamine spike, just execution. This is the moment most people think something is wrong. In reality, this is the moment trading starts working. The 95% hit this stage in panic. They think they're losing passion. They think the strategy stopped working. They think they're wasting time. So they do what they've always done. They go searching again. New strategy, new mentor, new system. They leave right before consistency shows up. The 5% stay. They recognize boredom as stability. They understand that when trading no longer excites them, it means they're no longer gambling emotionally. They're playing the season, not the possession. This is exactly what happens in basketball when someone moves from casual play to organized competition. At first, it feels restrictive. Plays, roles, structure, no freestyle, no hero moments, just repetition. Then something shifts. Wins start stacking, mistakes drop, confidence grows quietly. Trading works the same way. And I remember a trader telling me the day trading finally made sense was the day he stopped telling people about his trades, not because he was hiding anything, but because there was nothing interesting to say. He wasn't chasing moves. He wasn't predicting anything. He was just executing the same play over and over. And when people asked what changed, his answer felt almost disappointing. I stopped trying to win trades. I started trying to follow rules. That sentence explains the entire gap between the 95% and the 5%. Most traders think the goal is to win trades. It's not. The goal is to survive long enough for probability to work in your favor. Basketball teams don't win because they score on every possession. They win because they protect the ball, play defense, and take good shots over a long season. If you approach trading like a season instead of a highlight reel, everything changes. Losses stop feeling personal. Drawdowns stop feeling catastrophic. You stop needing to be right today. You start caring about consistency over time. And that shift alone removes most of the emotional pressure that destroys traders. This is also where automation and systems start to make sense to people. Not because humans are incapable, but because systems remove emotion. They remove hesitation. They remove ego. The 5% either automate their execution or train themselves to behave like a system. Same rules, same inputs, same outputs. No drama. If you want to move closer to that level, here's the simplest question you can ask yourself. What am I still deciding in real time that should already be decided in advance? Entries, risk, stops, trade limits, sessions. If you lock those down, trading gets quieter immediately. Quiet is not failure. Quiet is control. Before we wrap this up, if this video helped you see trading differently, take a second to share it with someone who's stuck playing street ball in the markets. Not to flex, to help them stop burning time. And if you want more videos that break trading down without hype or noise, subscribe. This channel is about fundamentals, not fantasy. I'll leave you with this. Trading feels impossible when you play it like a pickup game. Everyone improvising, everyone forcing shots, everyone chasing moments. Trading becomes obvious when you play it like basketball is actually played at a high level. Structure, defense, shot selection, patience, repetition. The 5% didn't discover a secret. They stopped playing the wrong game. If you're still here, you're closer than you think, and that's the real edge. This is Trader's Mind TV. Thanks for watching.